I hope not. I plan to go
All
to
right,
bed.
we're live. Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah. So GEG Kuwait, our first online hangout. We'll see. Just two of us. Hey, why not? So, oh, there's Carolyn. Yay! Yay!
I'm sorry, hold on, let me get the video up. Hey!
Hey, yay!
Hi, Karen.
Hey, Mark, how are you?
Good, thank you. Good.
Okay.
All right, so we're live. So just quick introductions. My name is Lissa, and I'm an AIS.
Okay. I'm Mark Duncan. I'm a certified trainer, and I work for a Google partner in the region, and I work with lots of schools, helping train teachers basically on how to use Google Apps effectively in the classroom.
Nice. I'm Carolyn Hilarious, working at Fawzia Sultan, which is a sister school to Bayan Bilingual School here in Kuwait. Been in Kuwait for way too long, and recently started using, not recently, quite some time now, but introduced to Google Suites by our wonderful Liza right here. So yes, now trying to expand on my skills.
Nice.
Awesome. One thing that I have kind of been thinking about lately, and I just kind of wanted to run by a few other people, was the idea of allowing people in the group to moderate, because a lot of people ask to join, and some of them, I'm sure they're in Kuwait, I just don't know them. And like one thought was, if other people know who they are, that would be like an easy way
to keep
get them in fast.
Going, right?
Yeah. So
I think
Mark.
that would help, because I work with how many schools? Like about 4 schools in Kuwait. So if the teachers, it may help if I know them, but there's probably obviously lots of teachers who I don't know. So it'd probably help having moderate that. Of course.
So I guess I'm okay with doing that, as long as people are only approving people that they know. Because I've tried to be really, really careful about not letting spammers in. And it turns out, like, you would probably be surprised the number of people that ask to join and are like, should not be in our group, and are probably just going to come in and spam us. So I think I'll post in the group, but I'll make people moderators. The only condition is you only add people who you actually know. Don't just add everybody that asks.
So do you think you might have like some kind of like policy write-up, so that so then we know, like, there's a checklist of, they must be, using Google App Suites, must be.
If they're a real person and they're in Kuwait, I think that's pretty open. Because I think there's probably people who would like to use Google Apps, but they aren't currently, or like I know there's people at our school who are part of it, and we kind of a little bit use Google Suite. So I think are they a real person?
Yeah.
Like, have you spoken to them before? Awesome. Like, great, let them in. But I try and keep it keep it to educators, not just to like random anybody. I try and keep it within Kuwait. There are a few people who I've allowed in from outside of Kuwait that I've like verified are real people using Google Apps. But like I think we're pretty free and open, but just don't want a lot of spammers who are going to come in and leave us junk. So
yeah, of course. I guess we can try it out over a link and see how it goes, and then we can kind of review who we've let in and see how it goes.
Yeah. I just want people to get in faster, and I don't want, because what I've typically done is once they ask, I like contact them through the chat and just verify and just ask like, hey, what school are you at? And then if they respond and they're at a school in Kuwait, I let them in. And if they don't respond, I don't let them in. So
yeah. Good.
Cool. Awesome. I'll do that later today or tomorrow.
Okay, cool.
Might be quite a few people from my school that I might send your way then, because I didn't know really the criteria for our group. But then, if it's just, people, like-minded people, sounds good.
Absolutely. And I think that's probably easier. Like you can give them the link, they can come ask to join, and then you can approve them. Perfect.
Sounds good. Okay.
Cool.
Okay, good stuff. Do you want me to make a start on the topics I was going to talk about? Okay, so I guess the thing is it best if I screen share so I can show bits and pieces to people. So, bear with me. Okay, fingers crossed people can see that. Excellent. Okay, so what I would like to talk about today is a few updates of Classroom. Now, one of the key updates with Classroom that some teachers aren't aware of if they're not using it regularly is that when they're working in their classroom and you share work with students or teachers, you can now differentiate within your posts. So let's say, for example, I've gone into this example group here for our Google educators in school, and I'll just call this test post for now. You can type, and then when you go to this button here, okay, this drop down here, you can turn off all students and then select the specific student you'd like it differentiated to. This is a very powerful tool. It was a tool that it's been requested from Google for a long time in Classroom, and I think that it can be used really well if you want to differentiate with your G&T students and give them extended differentiated work, or maybe some of your weaker students in the classroom. Obviously, these aren't the guys here, but you know, you can share out with them. I think it's a very powerful tool that is underused even with our most regular users of Classroom in school. It's also worth noting as well is when you want to share a post into Classroom, let's say, for example, you're off ill for the day and your lesson's going to be covered, you can always just share a post with all of your classrooms. So you could share it with all your classrooms and say, hey guys, sorry, I'm off ill today, unfortunately, so please check the Classroom for any updates, and here's the pieces of work or whatever I'd like you to do in today's lesson. So it's a really underused tool that I think, but I think it's really important that we start kind of differentiating more when using Google Apps for Education. Because obviously one size doesn't fit all with our students, and it's important we give that a try. I think also another thing I wanted to talk about as well was actually within the admin console. One of the latest updates is they've also allowed you to now track the usage of Classroom. You never could be able to used to do this, however you can now. So if you go into your admin console, obviously if you have access within school, that's important, super user. But if I go into apps usage activity, and I've changed this to Classroom. So for example, last time used, you can see here that how many active students are using Classroom within your school. So for example, we've got, you know, end of January, we had over 1,000 active students and 65 active teachers, which is absolutely fantastic. You can obviously refine down by specific users. So let's say, for example, I'm going to search for my username on the right-hand side here. You can add an additional filter so you can see how many staff are using specific apps. So what am I doing here? Post created. Let's get rid of that. Helps me can type the right email. And it shows you there how many classes and posts were created. So obviously I've not been doing too well there. My last one created was on 31st of Jan. But it's a really great tool because I think it's important that we actually reward our staff who are using Classroom and apps that you've been trying to push. It's very easy for kind of teachers to go to a training session, be like, yep, this is a fantastic app, I'm going to use it a little bit more. And then day to day, we know what teaching's like. It's very difficult, you get bogged down with lots of other things. So actually rewarding the staff who are using it a lot, I think, is a really, really important thing. You can also toggle it to see which teachers are using it the most on the right-hand side there, and you can have a little play around with those two filters as well. So I think that's a really good tool. I think it's important to reward our staff, and it's all it takes is a couple of emails to say, guys, well done, you're using Classroom loads, really happy. Get them involved with CPD so they can work with other staff to say, okay, this is how I'm using Classroom. This is why, this is the way it works well. This isn't how it works well, you know, and then go from there. And then within your staff, you're kind of building a network of people who are specialists in each app. And that's about it with Classroom, I think.
Awesome.
And does Classroom get used a lot in your schools?
We have quite a few middle and high school teachers who are using Classroom.
Okay.
I would say most of our elementary classes are, if they're using something, they're using Seesaw. But once it gets up to like grade 4, grade 5, they're more likely to be using Classroom.
Okay, good stuff. I think it's actually similar with our younger years in the school. I know they've been using Edmodo a little bit, but Classroom tends to be certainly secondary school. So it depends on the year teachers in each group.
Yeah, but I did have a 4th grade teacher just emailed me the other day and was like loving it for her 4th grade students. So like even that, I think that's probably about where I would start, maybe 3rd, but like still powerful for elementary too.
Yeah, I guess I know schools take certain policies with certain apps. I would say one size doesn't fit all with Classroom. For some teachers, Classroom isn't what they quite want, so they're going to use other ways. They may use Google Sites, for example, or they may use third-party apps. That's absolutely fine. But as long as teachers are using it and if it suits their teaching style, then that's absolutely perfect. Cool. So I'll move on quickly. I know we're
I have a quick question, Mark. Yeah. They have not yet released it where like so you can differentiate in Classroom, but they haven't released it where I can say I want these 3 students to be in a group and work in one document.
Yes, that is one thing that they need is so that you can create mini groups within your classroom, if that makes sense. I know a lot of teachers may go around this by creating 2 classrooms, one with their middle to G&T students and maybe one with their lower band students, and then they can share, if they want to share one document for everyone, they push it to 2 classrooms at the same time. Alternatively, then they share the differentiated work, different pieces of work with each classroom. However, the problem is that's 2 classrooms to manage, which makes life a little bit more difficult with your work. But yeah,
I would say more likely our teachers use Doctopus to do, if they want to do like small group work, they use Doctopus still right now. We started using Doctopus before Classroom was around. But I didn't think that it was available. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, it's not available at this stage. Fingers crossed. We use Hapara in our school as well, which is obviously allows teachers to see screen, see things in Google Drive. But and there's also a Smart Share in Hapara as well. But that is a paid third-party app for people who aren't aware. So that's something to be aware of too. But fingers crossed that will come in the future. I think Classroom's made great strides in the last year and a half. So
for sure,
hopefully it can only get better. Okay, good stuff. I'll move on. So the next thing I want to talk about was Android apps for Chromebooks, updates and feedback. Now, we know obviously I'll keep this very brief because not all schools use Chromebook. But just recently it has been announced that, and it's now live for schools, that schools can use Android apps on Chromebooks too. So instead of just being restricted to the Chrome Web Store, which was good, but didn't have everything, now, if you have any app that's available on an Android app, a tablet, or mobile phone, you can now access it on a Chromebook now as well, which is pretty powerful because it's just opened up the market for so many more apps. Obviously, like normal, you can control and restrict which apps are available to your students. So I know some teachers and parents have been worried that actually, does this mean they can now download Snapchat, for example, or some sort of, those social media apps? Just like any previous apps, we can restrict them based on year group or as a blanket policy for the whole school. So that's probably just worth bearing in mind. Some people have asked me, whereabouts do I find this? So if I just quickly share my screen again, bear with me. Okay, there we go. And if I go into the admin console and I go down to device management, and then go into Chrome management, fingers crossed, thinking about it. No, it's Saturday afternoon. Well, very slowly. Okay, but that's where it is anyway. If you go into Chrome management there, the second box down says Android apps. And just like you do with Chrome apps, you have to obviously allow the apps, etc., to be downloaded. Okay, so I'll come back off that. Okay, cool. So yeah, so Android apps are now available. And the final thing I wanted to talk about, I don't know how many other schools are using this, but I know two schools here in Kuwait. I know NES and TA are using Blogger really, really well. So I'm going to give you another example here. So let's present to my whole screen again. There we go. So this is an example of a blog that the Nest students who've just gone to Spain for a week, and they visited the new camp. They've had football training at Real Madrid, and they've basically given updates to all the staff and the parents. I think it's a really, really useful tool. We see this predominantly used in primary school, where teachers will take regular photographs. Sports teachers will take photos at sporting fixtures. And because you can set it up by email, so that all you have to do is attach your images to an email and then send it to that designated email, it automatically loads. So you don't even have to log into Blogger to create these posts. So these teachers here have simply added these images into an email and sent it to that email, and then it's done. They don't need to worry about it. So I think it's a really powerful tool for making kind of schools a little bit more transparent with regards to day-to-day learning. When it comes to trips, it's just a nice, really easy tool. I know there's loads out there. I know there's lots of different ones for primary school, but I just think as a kind of Google offering, I think it's underutilized in schools. That's obviously personal, my personal opinion, of course. So yeah, I think that was everything I wanted to discuss, really.
Mark, do you guys have at any of those schools? Like, there's a lot of students in those pictures. Do you guys have you seen what's it called? Like approval, like a parent approval to use kids' pictures?
They do. The school has a policy for all photographs within school, so not just for like an online blog. Within the wording of that policy, it covers any photographs taken by school. There is a handful of students within school. For example, at Nest, there's I think we're in the teens when it comes to how many parents don't want pictures put out there. But yes, we do. The policy is within the whole school policy. So every time we set up a blog or a Google site, something that we're going to share, we don't have to worry about actually sharing images. It is obviously it's incumbent on the teachers who are there to know whether there's any students there who aren't allowed to be photographed. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Is there a possibility that you would have access to share that piece of the policy about photos with us?
Yes, I can do. I'll have to just double check it tomorrow with Richard, and then I'll be more than happy just to give you the section which kind of covers that photo policy.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Because I guess that would also cover, I know you're going to be talking a little bit about, Carolyn's going to talk about YouTube Live, which is fantastic. I guess that probably covers the same sort of, same sort of area.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's about me anyway.
So do kids blog, Mark, on Blogger? Do you find that the Blogger is a good platform for kids to do, micro blogging and just, kid blogs?
Yeah, so one reason why I think it's advantageous is because there's two things, obviously depending on year group here. But first of all, if you get them into the habit of using the email facility where they simply just kind of write it can be a quick sentence, so you don't even have to get them to log into blog. You say, right guys, go into email, send it to your Blogger email and say, okay, tell me 5 things you learned this week. And within 5 minutes, they then share. They've got almost like an e-portfolio of what they've been doing that week. It doesn't even have to include images. As I said earlier, teachers are using it more for photographs, that type of thing. The key issue I find with it is if the students want to share their work, for example, print it into a printed portfolio, it's a little bit more difficult because it doesn't print that well. Images will cut across 2 different pages. I believe that that makes it more challenging. If they do want to print it for like kind of paper evidence, whether it be for homework or whether it be for exam boards, I don't think it works as well.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because we were looking for, I don't know if any of you guys know, but we were looking for good, easy access blogging sites for kids. I know there's like Kid Blog and stuff like that, but yeah. But this seemed really good, especially. So do you have to connect the Gmail to Blogger, or is it automatically connected?
It's automatically connected. So it's your Google login. And then when you log in, you can create and as many, I think up to 50 blogs, I think. And just basically create your blog, and it's pretty straightforward.
Okay.
One thing I would say, if you're using it for the first time, and I'll show you this because some teachers aren't aware of this, and this is very important. If I just share my screen again, when you go on to, so if I go into Blogger homepage, okay, so at the moment I've got a couple of blogs there, and I can switch between them. When you create a new blog, it's very important on the left-hand side, you go to settings, and then under basic settings, you change it from change the privacy. So for example here, privacy under basic says not listed on Blogger and not visible on search engines. Okay, and that's important because when you first create it, it's visible on both. And obviously just for kind of e-security for your students is important. And blog readers down here, you should always change that to private. And then you can also add readers later on. Now this one's been created as a public one because we created it last minute for this trip, and we wanted everyone just to be able to access it through the link. But that you should always change that blog reader to private, and then add teachers or add parent emails when you're ready.
So you would have to go in and add every single parent email that you wanted to see it, and they would have to have a Blogger account.
They don't need a Blogger account, no. They just, do you know, I don't even know whether they can use a Hotmail. I think it's just Gmail account.
Okay, so what would be, so like they need a Gmail, like a Google account. So like if you had parents, like for us, most of our parents don't have Google accounts. A lot of them are on like Hotmail, whatever. So you wouldn't be able to make it so that they could see it.
Yeah, let me check that now. Blogger accounts, email.
Because what we've moved to with our elementary blogs, we have they use WordPress, but we don't make them private, but we don't make them public and searchable. We make it so that they're like not going to be like archived by search engines. So it's basically anyone with the link can view it.
Sure, yeah, and that's a safe bet, I guess. You know, we just always worry just in case users are slightly unaware of where they're placing the link. If they put it in a public debate by mistake, you run the risk. But yeah, I completely agree. I think that's a good way of doing it, making it public, but then turning off listed and searchable.
Yeah, we just found that we couldn't get like our parents, we couldn't get them onto the blogs. Like even with WordPress, like they have to create a WordPress account using their email address. We just couldn't get them onto the blogs. So it was creating such a barrier that we were like, great, we'll just make it so anyone with the link can view it, and then our parents are going to be more involved.
Yeah, I completely agree. The only thing I would say is why we'd encourage our parents to actually, you know, accept the updates by using the email is because they get an email every time a blog post goes up. So even if they're quite forgetful or not, they don't tend to, you know, go looking for the blog. Then at least they'll get regular updates.
Yeah, we still ask them to like subscribe to the blogs, but then they don't have to have a WordPress account. Versus when it's private, the only way for them to get in it is to have a WordPress account. Versus they can still sign up using their regular email to get those like emails.
Sure.
Every time there's a post, but they don't have to log in. So
yeah, I guess whichever suits best for your students, I suppose. But it's been a good starting point, Blogger, I've found in schools. But you know, there are plenty of other alternatives out there. So yeah.
All right, up next.
Is that me up next?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I just wanted to put in a plug actually for a venture that I've gotten supporting, and I'm using YouTube Live to support. The venture is actually called Ed Collab. I'm going to share my screen with you and just show you a little bit about what it's all about. So what Ed Collab does is can you guys see me?
Yep.
So yeah, so Ed Collab, the Ed Collab gathering is a literacy online free professional development event that happens like twice a year. And what we do is it's hosted through Google Hangouts, which is now YouTube Live. and it goes across the world to educators around the world, which is something that I really love, and it's something that for me, I'm gonna stop sharing. Hold on. For me, just being in Kuwait for so long, and not being able to access good professional development and good access to good information, just having the power of YouTube to connect, to make connections with educators around the world who are at the top of their game is something very powerful. So I've been part of the Ed Collab Tech team for 2 years now, and what we do is we train educators. So professional writers, authors, and people who want to share their information to the rest of the world. And we train them in how to use YouTube Live and how to host a professional development workshop on this day, which is the Ed Collab Gathering Day. So yeah, at this point, we are just getting ready to get people interested, get people involved in people who use Google Apps and Google App Suites in training them to then become trainers themselves. So what can I share with you? Let me just give you examples of some of the people that I've met being in this professional series. I don't know if any of you guys are from the literacy world, but there are very famous authors like Chris Lehman and just people who are at the top of their game that I've gotten to personally get in touch with. So it's people whose books you read about and books you teach about that you get to meet, and you get to ask questions directly to and watch free live PD. So it's really great. I've learned a lot. I've learned how to host videos and actually create videos on my own YouTube page, which is great. And so now I'm using that to even do some internal PD. I'm a literacy coach in Fauziya, so I've started using that now to do internal PD in the form of PD when you want it, right? Because you know how you go to a PD and it might not be necessarily what you want. So a lot of my PD now I do on tools where I can make a video and then put it on YouTube Live, and then the teachers get to watch it whenever they want, and then we come back and meet collaboratively and talk about it rather than me presenting all the time at a professional development. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think that's really good actually, because it's moving towards like a flipped learning kind of concept that we talk a lot about with students and teachers. So we're actually leading by example for doing that. I think it's fantastic. I'm actually intrigued to know which sort of recording apps do you use when you create your videos?
Okay, so right now, that's the other thing I put on. The one thing that I'm really loving right now is My Simple Show. And I don't know if you guys know it, but with My Simple Show, I'm gonna post on here a link to one of the videos that I made. With My Simple Show, it's really you get to create a very animated video with a voiceover, and so when you go into the creation mode, it gives you a screenshot of 4 or 5 different, let's say like a video board, like a cinema board, and then you write a script for what you want. And then for the words that you that kind of stand out, they give you images, and so a show is created. I'm gonna post. Would you guys like to see one of my shows that I created for a flipped classroom?
Please do.
Yeah. Hold on. I'm gonna share my screen then with you again, and then we'll watch it together. It takes a little while to do the first one, but then after the first one is done, it's quite good. Oh, getting started. Hold on. Okay, here we go. It's not as clean as I wanted it, but here we go. All right. So I do student-centered coaching with the teachers that I coach. So this is an introductory video to student-centered coaching. Okay. Getting started with student-centered coaching. Hi, I'm Carolyn, and we're about to begin work together in a student-centered coaching cycle. Here is everything you need to know about student-centered coaching to help you get started. In a student-centered coaching cycle, we will work together to plan, implement, and assess student learning. Student achievement towards curriculum goals will be at the heart of the work that we do. Okay, so yeah, so that's an example and I got a lot of good response, you know, because I do coaching cycles with teachers, and it's hard to touch base with everybody. And it's a good way to kind of introduce concepts, new concepts, and stay in touch with teachers, even when I'm not in a coaching cycle with them.
Sure. Yeah, I really like the concept. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah. So that is it. Oh, and if any of you are interested in being tech hosts and meeting wonderful people around, educators around the world, we are starting a venture soon. It's in April. Probably first April 8th is when the Ed Collab goes live. So, and we are looking for tech people to support the venture. So it's completely volunteer time. So, you know, if you're interested, let me know and I'll send you an email, and you can see if it's something that you can still, you know, want to do.
Perhaps could you post the link into the GEG community after this session as well?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
I'll post a link for all.
I also added links to the document that we have for both the Ed Collab and the My Simple Show. I added those links so they can kind of live there too, because we can share this back again on the
yes,
group.
and if you have literacy people, especially literacy people in your building who would be interested in something like that, it's completely free. Even in the professional development, it's great professional development. So I'll post again closer to the date of, and then you can share that with your literacy folks. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. That's good.
All right. Last but not least.
By the way, sorry to jump in. I feel terribly rude. We didn't say hello to Abby when Abby came into the.
Yeah.
Hi, Abby.
Yes, no problem. I got here late, so it's okay. Hi, everybody.
Yeah, I kind of ignored her. She's my sister, actually.
And we're actually right next door to each other.
All right, are you?
She's in the apartment, just like right over there.
So nice.
Just trying to fill the number.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, we love it. All right, so just I'll share my screen. So just reminding everybody that certifications are a thing and you can do them for free, which is awesome. And then, so I'll share. And then.
This is trainer certification, yes?
What?
This is trainer certification, yes?
So there's several different certifications. Yeah, there's can you guys see my screen?
Yes, no, we can see you now.
Dang, I shared it. And I said I wanted it to share.
I think it went
okay, so it says I'm presenting
to
to
everyone.
everyone.
Back though.
Okay, what is it now? Because it says you are presenting to everyone. So
you're presenting, but I don't think your screen is sharing right now.
Move your mouse, and then you'll find the right toggle bar on the right, and then you should find screen share. Just click on screen share again.
No, yeah, I did that. So we're good.
There we go.
Yeah, that's
okay.
Okay.
Cool. First, so this is where the certifications. So there's first the educator level 1 and educator level 2. And those are both free. I did both of those recently because I've been a trainer for maybe
2
like
years.
Yeah. Yes. I don't remember how long they're good for. Yeah. Okay. You have to with all of the certifications, you have to re-up them a little. Like you have to stay certified, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So so there's both of these, and I put it in the document. So anytime anybody does a certification from our GEG, there's an ID that you guys can add just to kind of so either of those educator level 1 and level 2 certifications or the certified trainer certification. Certified trainer certification, you didn't have to be educator level 1 or level 2. And then there's also certified innovator, which they do want you to be level 1, level 2. And I think it's open right now, actually, the certified innovator. There's one coming up. I'm pretty sure.
Don't you have, for the certified innovator, don't you have to go to certain fairs and certain, it's not completely online, is it?
No, it's not at all. Nope. So it's the one coming up is actually, the deadline's in 2 days, and then it's in London, April 19th to 21st.
Okay.
Yeah, and they come out, I don't know, they kind of vary it every year.
Yeah.
But they do 4-ish, maybe a year.
Yeah.
And then you can now nominate an innovator. So if there's somebody that you think would be an awesome innovator, you can now nominate, which is really cool. But to be an innovator, you have to have your level 1 and level 2, but not trainer.
Right.
So with the trainer, COTAIL just announced. So COTAIL is the Certificate of Educational Technology and Information Literacy. Finished mine 3 years ago, maybe. Abby just finished hers in the fall, right, Ab? Yeah, December. Yeah, and just recently, like a week or two ago, COTAIL has joined forces with the Google for Education Certified Trainer program. So you can do them simultaneously, or if you are a former COTAILer or current COTAILer, you can together. So that was a really exciting partnership between COTAIL and the Certified Educator program. And COTAIL is more and more, like more internationally, but it's pretty recognized internationally. There are like almost 1,000 people, like international educators, who have done the COTAIL program. So it's definitely more publicity, and like more people are joining. So both of those are really exciting. COTAIL just started a new cohort, I want to say about a month ago. And then their next cohort will either start in June or in September. They've never done a summer cohort before, but they are thinking about starting in the summer. So it's 5 courses. The first 4 courses are weeks each. And they do like course 1 and 2 in a semester, course 3 and 4 in a semester, and then course 5. It's like big final project where you take an entire unit and kind of redefine it based on what you have learned. So they're thinking about, because people have wanted to do one in the summer and start in the summer, so that would get them to be able to finish in like a school year versus a year and a half. And now with this partnership, now you could get your certified educator or certified trainer while you're doing COTAIL. So pretty excited about that.
I think that sounds great. Can I see there that you've got to fill out the form by, was it Thursday, 9th of March? Is that?
That's what, yeah. So this is only if you are already a COTAIL graduate.
Okay. Got you.
Yeah, so people who are COTAIL graduates and they're interested in becoming, they want you to fill it out by the 9th. If you know of somebody, you could fill out that form. I'm pretty sure on their website homepage, I think actually if you click on the register button, that takes you to the information about like the current cohort, upcoming cohorts, and can also email in and get registered to like receive their updates. So they're also on, let's see if that'll change. My computer's going slow right now, but they're also on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. So it's just COTAIL on Twitter. So a couple other places to kind of find their news and follow what's going on. So
just a quick question, Lisa. Do they charge? Is it a charged training, or can people do it for free?
Yep, it is. It is a charge. It depends on which option you choose, because it actually gives you a graduate, like you have like continuing education credits, and they're. So like if you're a US educator, you can put them back towards your like keeping up your certification. And I don't know, that like probably differs in different countries, but receive those credits. So each class, if you do the no credit option, I think it's $500 for a class. So really cheap compared to like I don't know, I spent like $2,000 per class for my master's degree.
Actually,
So-
Lisa, I think there's 3 different levels of how you can take it. I think the very basic online level is actually like 350. And then
Okay.
there's like heritage credits, which I'm not 100% sure what those are. That's when it's like
Those are the
525.
continuing education.
Okay, and then there's, I don't know if they're still doing it where it's in connection with a university and you get actual like credits, and that's like 725.
Pause. Yeah, that's on pause right now.
Okay.
They're hoping to bring that back where you can actually get like university credits for it. But that's kind of on pause right now. Oh, look, they did announce it. The next cohort begins June 19th. So they are doing that. So if you click on that register, it gives you all the information. So like enrollment fee is $200. Like on your last course, you pay $200 less. So all that information is there, and I'll make sure that into the notes.
Sounds great. Sounds good.
All right. Anything else? We took
I
almost an
wonder-
hour.
Just a quick one. I wonder whether schools actually would pay for that because you're getting your trainer certification as well. If you're part of the team who are doing tech integrators or something at your school, I wonder if you could get that partly covered at least. It's probably worth asking.
Yeah. I know for our school, we do like no matter who you are, every single person at our school, like educator gets 200 KD for professional development every year.
Okay, that's great.
That would, probably depends on your school a little bit too. But I actually had a question for you, Mark. Did you do the certified admin certification?
Yeah, I tried it once. The biggest, and I didn't pass it. The biggest difficulty is I actually sat with someone who'd passed it before and kind of worked through it together. I hope Google aren't listening. And he felt like we had it nailed down. We were pretty confident, and then I didn't pass it, and it didn't give you any feedback. So actually, I was really kind of a bit gutted about it. So I spent a bit of time doing the individual work. I actually, funny enough, I still do trainings on admin, but the actual test itself I found was very, very difficult. More on a basis of we didn't know where we'd gone wrong. We felt like because it's a hands-on, similar to the second section, the Google Educator Level 1, Level 2, where you have to create OUs, create new users, create groups, go into email settings, all sorts of bits and pieces. But the feedback from it isn't great. So that's just something to be aware of. But I would certainly suggest for people just to give it a go. I mean, for people who you regularly use an admin console, half the things on there you've probably used before. I think it's just the things that you've never used before, which you don't go into too much depth with. Probably the difficulties.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I was wondering and when did you take it? When did you try it?
It's probably about a year ago now, I'd say. And just never really. I never had that. I've not had the time since just to sit down and kind of really go at it. I'll try to get in probably the summer term.
Yeah, because I know when I took the trainer tests, like whatever 4 years ago, they were like kind of ridiculous. The questions they were asking, like so nitpicky about it, and I just kind of wondered if that was the same case for the admin. But because it's like $100.
Yeah, and that's the thing because a lot of schools will pay IT or IT administrators or IT kind of tech integrators to actually take the course, but only when they've passed it. And that's certainly a policy they have at NEST where they say, we'll pay for your Google Educator Level 1, Level 2, no problem, but only when you passed it. So some people who take it 2 or 3 times, obviously have to stump up, and it's a little bit more of an issue when it is about $100 a pop. For the IT administrator. So my suggestion is work through all of the kind of self-led work that they have there. They've got a really good website actually.
Yeah.
Perhaps if I put that into the document as well, have a work through that and then, give it a try and see how you get on.
Yeah. Because I found the rest of them so easy, but I was a little bit intimidated by that one, especially at the price point. I don't want to fail it and have paid $100.
Yeah. Yeah, it's understandable, and I've got to admit what the actual exam itself was intimidating. So I think I've been put off doing it since, so I will have to get around to do it.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, well, I'm gonna stop the broadcast, and we will hopefully do this again sometime soon. Thanks,
Nice
everybody.
guys.
Thanks
You
so much.
too.
Guys. Have a great night.
Have